Let's talk to Michael in Florida. You're on the air with Lindsey Williams.
Hi, it's Michelle, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, I'm dumb. It does say Michelle right there, but I do this thing where Michelle looks like Michael across the room. Go ahead.
That's okay. I have 3 quick questions, but I just want to make a statement. I live in Florida, but we have a place in Ohio, and there are people awake, and we're in rural areas in both places. And there's a place in Cincinnati. This lady came to church, and I just knew she was awake. Anyway, she said they have big meeting groups there, that they're all planning for what's going to happen, and they're all making moves into strategic places out in the rural areas out there. So here and there.
Listen, I'm going to hold you over because I want to get your full question, but let me just tell you now. I have gone to like children's parties with my children in different small towns, and it's scientists and doctors and retired FBI agents and biochemists just everywhere. And sometimes they don't even know who I am, but they're saying, do you know about the global takeover plan? We're preparing for it. Do you know about the bioweapons they've got to? I mean, it's like they know. The higher educated people get, the more they know because they're in the system and they're seeing it. Lindsey, take us out to break with what I just covered.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Alex. They are waking up. They're waking up in mass. And I don't know many more I could say. I'm also, I've been a minister of the gospel for 55 years. I'm in my 70s, but just as active as I was when I was back in my 50s. And I am seeing for the first time in the past 6 months a number of churches that have called me and say, the next time you come out with any DVD series or anything that we can put in our, that we can show to our church, send it to me. There are, for the first time, Alex, in 35 years that I've been out here trying to beat the bushes and tell the truth, we actually have a series of churches now who are asking me for information on a every few day basis.
Exactly. Okay, stay there. I'm going to come back to you, Michelle, in Florida. Stay with us. Cut you down. Go tell that once the globalists are identified, they've got to move with hardcore tyranny, which they're now trying to sell. And I think it's going over like a lead balloon. Doesn't matter, though. They're still going to run the bulldozer right over us because they don't have a choice. So get ready for impact, ladies and gentlemen. Lindsey Williams, our guest this segment, the next, and Bob Chapman joins us. Calls will continue here. We're doing a 4th special hour today with several guests, including Max Kaiser and Gary Franchi. Going back to Michelle in Florida. Go ahead and ask your questions, Michelle.
Real quick, the number one question I get from other Christians are, what do the globalists have planned with these FEMA camps? A lot of them are thinking they're going to be sent to these FEMA camps. The next one is silver as good as gold to have, and should we be hiding our food, guns, and ammo somewhere in our house?
Now, is that for me or Lindsey?
Both of you, either or.
Okay, well, let me just briefly give you my answer, and then we'll get Lindsey's, and I appreciate your call. Look, they're not going to say Alex Jones goes to a FEMA camp today. As things collapse, they'll put the poor people in there, and, of course, they're going to have to be enrolled for their safety, and then there are facilities for the extremist. I've been to the drills. We've got the training manuals. This is public. I mean, we know how the FEMA camps are rolled out. It's in the Emergency Centers Establishment Act. It just documents and calls for further funding of what's already there. So you see all these leaders in Illinois saying, we want troops on the streets, and in New Orleans and Louisiana calling for it. It's called for by the local operatives. Like, oh, vampire, please come in. They beguile you with this. Lindsey Williams.
I have tried to get the elite on the subject of the FEMA camps numbers of times. You've heard me say this on your show before, Alex, and they refuse to answer any of my questions. When I ask something of these people, and back even when Mr. Fromm was alive, and he didn't want to answer. He just positively was very curt sometimes and would say, no, let's don't talk about that. I'm going to talk about one thing, though, and I must be very emphatic about this, despite what the previous caller said. You remember when I came on your program and I said, Alex, I've just been told by, and I didn't name him then, Mr. Fromm, and that's who did it. He said price of crude oil is going from $147 a barrel to $50 a barrel. People said I was crazy. I was laughed at.
But it did do it in the next 6 months.
4 weeks later when it happened, you said I was a prophet. Now, I'm coming back to give you this one right now also. Mr. Fromm said our currency. Our currency. He stressed so much what their currency is. Their currency is gold and silver. Never in the history of the world, look this up for yourself, and I must be very positive about this because of what they told me. Never in the history of the world has gold and silver ever gone to zero. You show me any time from Adam until today that the one thing that God put
Sure,
on the
well, it's
earth
even in
is
industrial metals used everywhere. I'm not saying I agree with the guy that they can take it to zero. They can sure manipulate it up and down, but every time they artificially manipulate down, it only makes it bounce back up. But specifically about hiding guns, gold, silver, yes, it is good to do that. It certainly is good to do that.
I'll guarantee you one thing. If you hide your paper currency, your Federal Reserve notes between your mattress, after the day after the devaluation, it's going to be worth 40% less than what it is, what it was on Friday when they closed the banks. But if you've got gold and silver hidden someplace around the house there, I guarantee you, you mark my words, you're going to call me a prophet after it happens and wish to goodness you'd listen to what the elite have told me. I'm just telling you what they've told me, folks. That's all I can do. It will be worth 40% more than it was on Friday when the banks closed after the devaluation, and you cannot depend on it unless it is tangible.
All right, back in 1 minute. We're going to do 5 more minutes with Lindsey Williams, and we're going to hurry through some quick questions from Sean and Roy and Justin and Mark and others. But just we'll get your question and get a quick answer from Lindsey on the other side. We'll be right back. I want to go to calls, just in a quick answer. What about your elitist sources priming the pump with good info to sucker punch everybody down the road with disinfo? Do you ever worried about that, Lindsey?
I would be if it had ever happened in 35 years' time. Now, keep in mind, the one person right now that gives me more information than anything else has been a very close personal friend, an ally, his entire family, his wife, his children, all of them I know personally. I've been with them. I've been in their home. Never in one time in 35 years have they given me any disinformation, and they're not going to start now. I'll tell you why. Because they're in their 70s and 80s, these people are. They know they're facing eternity. They know they're going to have to...
No, I hear what you're saying. Great answer. I believe you. Let's go to Roy in New York. You're on the air. Go ahead. Hello, Roy. Come on down.
Alex, Lindsey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm calling deep within the confines of FEMA Region 2, and I wanted to say to Lindsey, not to be discouraged. A lot of people are awake, and even though some of them aren't Christians, they are deeply spiritual, and I'm one of them, and I do have a standing relationship with my Creator. But evil will never prevail. Not in this lifetime or any lifetime coming after us. So people need to not be fearful. They need to be confident. They need to wake people up around them and do everything they can. Get storable food, get ammo, get all those things.
But more importantly, wake up and reach out to people. And a lot of people say, Alex, you're real paranoid. No, I'm not. I'm aware of history, and I'm out there out front. I know we can beat these people, Roy. Do you have any questions for Lindsey?
No, I'm just happy to hear Lindsey Williams back on your show. Every time he does, I tune in, and I thank you both for your work.
Well, thank you, Roy. Let's go to Justin in Minnesota. You're on the air with Lindsey Williams. You got a question?
Yes, I do. Basically, I'm a Catholic, and my church has pretty much been, I don't know, it seems like playing the New World game, asking for World Bank and whatnot. I'd just like to ask Lindsey one thing, what he thinks about the hierarchy of the church, because I have tons of people in my community, in my church community, who are awake but are afraid to speak out because of group consensus about, the Vatican asking for a World Bank. And
yeah, what about the Vatican calling for a World Bank and all this stuff, Lindsey?
The elite have never been willing to talk to me about certain things, and one of them is the Vatican. Now, I have personal opinions, but those don't weigh at all because you can't depend on what I think in my mind. But whenever these people give me something, I'll say they have never been willing to go into the subject of the Vatican.
Anything else you'd like to add there, sir?
Yes, actually, I have two really important comments to make because I've waited so long to get on the show. I'd like to point out that MIT's OpenCourseWare, they're teaching things like how to stage a revolution, and the quote underneath the heading is from Mao Zedong, dated 1927, and the funny thing, or sad thing I should say, is it says how to stage a revolution, and it shows 4 men to the left with a flag, and 3 men and a guillotine to the right.
Yeah, let me
man
stop
up.
you. Send me that. Email that right now to showtips@infowars.com. I have that in the article. The Egyptians have arrested a bunch of State Department front liberal groups who claim they want democracy, but everywhere they go, they try to bring tyranny. And the government, the illegitimate government, is creating its own little commissariat, enforcer system for their fake revolution, and it's totally seditious and evil. But where do people find that from because I know the universities are training for revolution against freedom, an engine of pure evil, but how do you find that?
You go to MIT or ocw.mit.edu and go under the humanities, social studies, look under the heading history. And I mean, this is full coursework, so this is their whole course.
I'll tell you what, send it to me right now. Send it to me right now. If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the InfoWars store at InfoWars.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe InfoWars T-shirts. We've got the incredible ProPure gravity-fed filters available at InfoWars.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there. Wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at Infowars.com today. The water filters, the canteens. It's all there. Infowars.com.